You're listening to the Culips English podcast. To download the study guide for this episode, which includes the transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations, real-world examples, and a quiz, visit our website, culips.com. CULIPS.com. Hey everybody, my name is Andrew.
And my name is Morag.
And you're listening to Culips. Hey Morag, how's it going?
I'm not doing too badly, Andrew. How are you?
Morag, I'm a little bit tired right now because honestly, I had a really long and crazy week, and I'm going to tell you all about it today, you and everybody that's listening.
Lay it on us. Come on.
All right, well, I will in just a second, but right now I want to remind everybody that the study guide for this episode is available to download from our website, culips.com. And the study guide is an awesome way to, study with us. The study guide includes a transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations of the cool and interesting vocabulary that you'll hear today, real-world examples, a quiz, and also a new bonus feature, which is discussion questions or journal prompts. You can use them to practice your speaking or your writing, whichever you prefer. So visit culips.com to download the study guide. Okay, Morag, I'm going to tell you all about my busy week right now. And I think actually, Morag, last time we recorded, we talked briefly about moving and helping friends move. And I mentioned that this is one of the things that I really hate to do. I hate moving.
Does anyone like it?
Maybe some people like it.
Maybe some people?
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that you just had to move.
Yeah, so as maybe some of our listeners know, I'm living in Korea and teaching at a university, and I had been living until recently on the university campus in a special housing unit for foreign instructors. So it's a really small kind of dormitory for foreign instructors. And it was great. It was a nice place. It was super convenient. I could walk to my classroom and to my office in like 30 seconds. So my morning commute was non-existent, which I really loved. But at the same time, it was starting to get a little stuffy. Like I was always on campus, and everywhere I'd go, I'd run into my students. I couldn't escape seeing my students, which is not a bad thing, but it's a little tiring sometimes. But I still decided that, you know what, because of the convenience factor, I was going to stay in that apartment. But they told me last week, Andrew, you have to move out of the apartment because we're going to do renovations.
Oh, you got like renovicted, but with an institution? That's pretty impressive. It's rare.
Yeah. It's rare.
Yeah.
Renovicted. I like that. So they were like, if you want to live in the student dorm for the 6 weeks while we do the renovations, you can. But I didn't want to do that. I thought, nope, that'll be a little too uncomfortable. So I took the opportunity to move off campus and find a new apartment. So this is what I was busy doing the last week. And it was quite the journey, let me tell you. I think I really understand now how truly difficult it can be to live in a foreign country. Because up until now in Korea, I haven't really had to do any really official business. This was my first time, for example, signing a contract, like a lease agreement in Korea. When you rent an apartment here, you have to work with a realtor, so a real estate agency. So I had to work with a realtor, and it was stressful and difficult.
That sounds nuts. I had a very tiny example of that moving to Montreal because I had to talk to landlords who spoke no English.
Right, in French.
In French. But it sounds like you had a lot more hoops to jump through.
Yeah, and honestly, at the end of the day, looking back on it, it wasn't so bad, but there was just a lot of things that I needed to learn on the go and in a quick amount of time because the system over here is super different than in Canada for renting an apartment. For example, in Canada, when you rent an apartment, you're not expected to pay a deposit, but that's a huge part of renting an apartment in Korea is paying a large deposit.
Depends on which province you're in. Because if you're in Ontario, you have to give first and last. That can be really expensive. However, you're talking even larger.
The places that I looked at were between $5,000 and $10,000 ish Canadian.
Whoa, that's a down payment on a house. Or almost.
Yeah, and that's just for like a small studio.
Oh my God.
And that's pretty
crazy.
entry level. So if you wanted like a family size apartment, you're looking at $50,000, $60,000 to $100,000 Canadian deposit. And
Oh my God.
yeah, but the thing is, the higher the deposit you pay, the lower the monthly rent. So the more that you're willing to pay up front, then, if you're paying $100,000 as a deposit, your rent payment is going to be quite low or maybe non-existent.
Man, it's always cheaper to be rich.
It's always cheaper to be rich, right?
No fair.
Yeah, it's no fair. So anyways, learning about this new system and talking to the realtors and having them show me around and doing this all in Korean by myself was stressful. I was learning lots of new vocabulary and I had a notebook that I was taking notes in and making sure to be really meticulous with all the questions I asked because I didn't want to get screwed over. Like I didn't want to be taken advantage of. Not that I thought anybody would do that, but it was in the back of my mind that if somebody wanted to, it would be really easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that it would feel like a vulnerable position because you just didn't have the know-how, the understanding of the system.
Exactly. And of course, I have friends and even my university to support me, but this was actually something that I really wanted to do by myself. I thought this would be a really great learning experience and also just a positive step forward in my time living in Korea. So I had a support system if I wanted it, but I tried not to access it. I wanted to do it for my own self. So yeah, I found an apartment and I did everything and I got it done. So I was really proud of myself for doing it. Another thing that's really different about the system in Korea is how fast everything works.
Yeah, I was a little shocked when you said that you were looking for an apartment in a week. That's nuts.
It's nuts, right? This was the
Yeah.
first thing that was really wild to me, was that my university gave me 1 week's notice. Like, oh, you got to leave your place in a
crazy.
week, right? It's like, a week? Wow, okay, I got to really get moving here. And then when I was looking for apartments, I worked with 2 different realtors, and they were both like, yeah, when do you want to move in? Tomorrow? Do you want to sign the lease right now and move in tomorrow?
Wow. Yeah, because definitely in Canada, I had to move out of an apartment about 8 months ago, maybe.
Okay.
We had 6 months notice.
I think that's the bare minimum
Yep.
they can give you.
So a week is crazy.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about your new apartment?
I really, really like it. It's in a much better neighborhood. It's really,
Nice.
really convenient and a cool or hip neighborhood.
Ah, yeah, that sounds fun. You're going to go where all the hip young people are.
Mm-hmm.
Like yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so one of the things I hate about moving is the actual physical process of moving, hauling things, right? But thankfully, I don't have that much stuff here. Like, I don't own any furniture. I was living in a furnished apartment, so I didn't need to buy any furniture. But the new apartment isn't furnished, so I moved my clothes and my small possessions into the apartment. That was pretty easy, just packed up a couple of suitcases. But then I realized, like, whoa, I'm going to need to furnish this place.
You might need a bed.
Yeah, that's what I realized after the first night. I have a camping mattress, I guess. For camping, I bought an air mattress. So I slept on that for the first night. And then I realized, like, well, I'm going to need to get a bed ASAP. This is the big takeaway for me, is that doing everything in a foreign country is like 10 times more difficult than it is at home. It's just, okay, I gotta go furniture shopping. Okay, now I gotta learn the new vocabulary that I don't know for measurements and for delivery options. And, all of these things come at you at once. And it's like, okay.
But it sounds like you tackled it. Like you did it.
I did do it. I have a fully furnished apartment right now. And actually, the way that it's furnished is pretty crazy. So I'll tell you what happened. I was riding the elevator in my building, and some guy saw me, and I guess maybe he wanted to practice his English, or I was a new face to him. For whatever reason, he just started talking to me in the elevator. And we were chatting, and he mentioned that he was going to be moving to Australia in like 4 days. So I was like, well, that's crazy that you're moving. I just moved into the building like yesterday. And he's like, you wouldn't happen to need any furniture, would you? He's like, I have an apartment full of furniture. I need to sell everything. And he's like, I'm actually a bit desperate. I've been trying to sell it for a while and nobody's buying. And I just need to get rid of everything. He's like, you want to come take a look? So I went to his apartment. Everything was in mint condition, very nice, clean apartment, clean furniture, stylish. Everything was perfect. And I was like, how much do you want for this? And, I was expecting him to say a number that I was uncomfortable with. Like, I thought, when I took into account everything that he had and that he wanted to get rid of, I thought it was going to be too expensive for me. And he told me such a cheap number that I was like, no, I can't take it for that much. Like, I need to give you more money. He gave it to me for such a good deal. I couldn't believe it was like winning the lottery. I was smiling all day.
Oh, it sounds like you got really lucky. That's amazing.
I got super lucky. So to wrap things up, I guess that's why I'm a little bit tired, is because I had such a whirlwind week. Like, looking back at where I was, today is a Thursday. Looking back last Thursday, I was still in my old place. It's crazy to think about how things changed so quickly.
It's been a ride.
A real ride. And actually, that guy from my building, he messaged me earlier today saying that he has a couple more things that he wants to give me.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm actually going to meet him here soon. So I think, Morag, we should wrap up this episode so that I can go see what other new furniture I have in store for me.
Want to take a second to thank everyone for spending their time listening to us, and remind them that our website is culips.com. And if you want to learn more about how you can study with us and improve your English, just visit culips.com.
Absolutely. You can get the study guide there as well. And if you have any questions or comments or even suggestions for future episodes, we are all ears and we'd love to hear from you. So shoot us an email. Our address is contact@culips.com, or you could also reach us through our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/culipspodcast. Okay, guys, we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Do you like listening to Culips? If so, please show your support by leaving Culips a 5-star rating and a review on iTunes or Stitcher. This helps new listeners find the show. So don't delay. Rate and review today.